Sensational.
Comment and subscribe. Like, comment, and subscribe. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, I uploaded Tuesday, but I'm uploading today on Friday. Now, everyone wants to reverse multiple sclerosis. You do, I do, because it's crazy. I'm looking for the cure. Multiple sclerosis has been around a long time. Where's the cure? But there's people out there said that they reverse multiple sclerosis. If they do reverse multiple sclerosis, put it out so everyone can get this. Like Christina Applegate, if she got the cure or the reverse, then guess what? Everyone will be trying it. You could become a rich. Because if you can reverse or cure multiple sclerosis, man, you are going out. The people in the video claim they can, but can they really? If you want to see these people, go to Tiki George, put in reverse multiple sclerosis, and go to the website. That's all that's stopping you. So do that. And if it does help you, put it down in the comments down below.
I love talking about people reversing their MS, and we get to see this in practice. But ultimately, Dr. Ben here, F8 Well Centers, ultimately this started with my mom. And I was back in high school, and she collapsed at one of my games, and they went through the whole process of, oh my gosh, why are her legs not working, all these things. And so they did an MRI, realized it was MS, and went down that path, got on the drugs, went on disability. She was a great school teacher, grew up in Nebraska, wasn't able to teach anymore. And on this downward spiral, had to get a cane, had to get a wheelchair. At Walmart, would get in the little go-kart and scoot around, couldn't even walk through the store a lot of times. And we figured, man, this is tough. It's gonna be a rough way to go. And this was probably, I'm gonna date myself here, but that was probably 26 years ago. And so we went through the process of kind of mourning, and like, man, my dad retired. They moved down to the Ozarks in Missouri, and they were gonna have to expand the hallways in their retirement house, all these things. But thankfully they found a doctor that did this kind of work that I do, that inspired me to go down this path. And he started working on all the systems that were out of balance, started working on her brain, on her gut, on all these things. And she went off her medications, and then she got rid of her wheelchair, and then she got rid of her cane, and now she's 79 years old, and this is 20 years later, and she doesn't have MS anymore. The neurologist, last one she saw, said, you don't have MS anymore, there's no more plaquing, but you're not on a drug. I would have called it the drug a success, but you're not on that drug, so I don't even know what to call it now. But here's the deal, the body can heal. She now does Granny Boot Camp, she goes fishing with my kids all the time, does all these things, and we have seen this with patient after patient and as well, and they are able to calm down their autoimmune conditions. Some of them on the MS side, their plaquing starts going away, they get smaller, fewer, a lot of different things. So it can happen. It's a miracle, and people have to work hard. And sure, there's times where, you know, if somebody's had it for 30 years and the legs are absolutely shriveled up, and you know that may never come back, and yet you've got to calm down that autoimmune reaction no matter what stage of autoimmune you're in. Even if you have type 1 diabetes, you need to calm down that reason why your body started attacking itself in the first place, because in the average person that has one autoimmune disease, they have multiple. So you've got to get down to that why and fix those underlying imbalances. If you need help with that, click the link in the bio, schedule a discovery call, and we can talk to you about the process.
Diagnosed with a disease like multiple sclerosis can be, and is most of the time, extremely hard. If you were diagnosed with MS or living with MS, I highly recommend you watch this whole video. This could potentially really change the trajectory of your life. MS shows up in different ways. It shows up in the body, it shows up in the mind, it shows up emotionally. And when it starts taking the toll of people not being able to use their body, to do what they want, to walk independently, it completely takes it to another level. Here, people start losing their independence. I know because I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2016, and I got to the point of not being able to walk on my own. And my doctors weren't helping me in figuring out what I need to do. They said, oh, if you don't have balance, if your knees are failing, if your ankles are failing, if you have foot drop, there's nothing you can actually do about it. Here's the thing, it's actually not true. And I figured it out. And I reversed MS completely in my body. And since then, I've been helping for years now people, men and women globally, achieve similar results. And a few months ago, I shared about one of my clients that achieved very fast results after 7 years of not being able to walk on her own. She used a walker, she used a wheelchair if she needed. She was barely being able to be present for her kids. If it wasn't the physical toll that MS took, it was the severe fatigue she was experiencing every day. 7 years of not being able to walk. And then in 3 weeks of following mind to body, which is the method, the healing method that I've created for people with multiple sclerosis. In 3 weeks, she was not only able to walk again, but she came back to dancing. Yes, dancing. And I shared it a little while ago when it happened, and many of you are so skeptical because your doctors keep telling you that you can't. So I want to share that video with you because you get to be empowered. You get to know the truth. You get to be the one choosing what you want your life to be like. Do you want to spend them in wheelchair limitation and believing those who say you can't? Or do you want to free yourself and become one of the people that say, I know you told me it's not possible. I know most people don't achieve it, but I did. Because you can choose which one you want to be. Watch her.
This is the story of how one doctor with MS went from crippling disability to hiking miles a day. Her name is Dr. Terry Walls, and in the year 2000, she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis and rapidly began to decline to a point where she could no longer walk and could only sit in a tilt-recline wheelchair because she couldn't even hold herself upright. And that's when, after trying all the immune-modulating medication, she dove into the research behind her own biology. That's where she realized that most chronic conditions, including her multiple sclerosis, come back to how well your mitochondria function. Now, you may remember the word mitochondria from her 6th grade biology class, the powerhouse of the cell. And when these go haywire, so do the rest of your body. So she began changing everything about her life and adopted mitochondrial principles. She changed the way she ate, the way she moved, everything about how she approached creating a healthy body, and eventually was able to reach a point where she had complete reversal of symptoms and was able to bike an 18-mile race, which for her was something that she thought was impossible at one point. Terry Walls is a resounding example of how we can heal our bodies if we mind our mitochondria. This is how I was able to reverse my own autoimmune small fiber neuropathy, and how I've been able to help over 50 other clients reverse their autoimmune processes and heal theirs. If you want to learn more about this, follow me for free.
I reversed all of my symptoms of MS naturally. I was diagnosed at 22. I went the medical route. I took injections for about 7 years and I wasn't getting better. And ultimately I figured out that I needed to do something different. I needed to look for other options. And I discovered nutrition in 2011 and 2012. That was the first step for me in starting to move forward. And one of the biggest questions I hear from people all the time is, okay, what did you do? At the time, I wasn't able to figure out what the root cause was. So I cut out a lot of things. I cut out gluten, I cut out dairy, legumes, refined sugar, pretty much all grains. So I went from eating a diet of packaged foods for breakfast, lunch, and even dinner to having to cook my own foods. And that was challenging because I wasn't someone who cooked a lot in the past. I had just heard that this woman, Dr. Terry Walls, which a lot of you have probably heard of, was reversing her MS through nutrition, through her diet. And I was like, if she can do it, maybe I can too. My diet changed pretty much overnight. But if it changes your health and it changes your life, isn't it worth it? Looking back now, if we'd had quantum nutrition testing when I was first figuring stuff out for myself, it wouldn't have taken me so long. Finding the root cause really is the key to finding
It's no well.
Bye, Felicia.
Be the best you can be. Love your family, love your friends. Spread love, not violence, not this virus. As always, peace.